Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live show where we just dissect the market and find every single popper. MVST was crazy today. Maxon still running. DBGI, that's STX Confidential's popper right there. AISP, BTCT still running. NMHI, that Nature's Miracle, COOT was running. CYN, we went through that last night. OCTO was running today, and so many more. You had ELAB popping up, XTIA, TRNR at the end, and so many others. So let's just get rolling here, and we will get cruising. So let's check out what's happening and see what's going to be popping next. All information presented here is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as financial advice, so always do your due diligence. How is everybody tonight? And let's get rocking and rolling here because we have a lot to go through. This list is filled up and there's a lot going on. So here we go. The market was like a mix today for your big caps or your Mag 7. Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, they were all green. And then you had Nvidia, Google, and Meta. They were a little red. And where was Microsoft? That was a little green too. So we'll go through all them as well. So let's get rocking and rolling with ELAB first because that one's already moving in the after hours. We've been talking about it. It's been setting up, curling up. And this is getting exciting, guys, because this one's curling up MACD, NRSI out of the basement like they should. We haven't seen a look like this in 3.5 years. So very exciting stuff. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It says it got to 4 cents on mine. I didn't really see it get that high, but maybe it did. It says it's at 3 cents, and that's where it closed, and it is getting ready to move tomorrow. So it looks like it's primed to get cruising out of the basement and crossing through that MACD. Its volume today was 503 million. Yesterday, it had 153 million. And the day before that, Monday, 177 million. And then Friday, 438. This thing's just getting super volume and super everything. So watch out for it because it wants to run ELAB, ELAB. And we've been talking about it. We were early. We picked it up on the scanner and it's getting ready to get rocking and rolling. And how about that XTIA, that XTI Aerospace? And we see this because we'd gone through the whole aerospace and defense sector and literally went through every single one just about. So we definitely know almost all of them. And yeah, it's set up and getting ready to rock and roll. And we've watched it a few times or for a little while, and that bottom was at that 3 cents, 0.0380 on November 6th. And it's at over 6 cents now in the after hours, getting ready to rock and roll too. So tomorrow should be a good day for them too and a lot more. So that's just the beginning of them right there. TANH, this one's setting up as well. It was up a little bit today. Let me see exactly where it ran because I know it was up when I posted about it. It went from 15 to 19 and it's at 17 right now, but it crossed through and it looks really good. So, and it's sitting right at that spot where that hard line comes through, and that's where they like to run off the most. I won't say the most, but they do like to run, especially with that look. And another one has that great look that you just haven't really had in a while. So these things are getting the good look and they're running up in the top like they should and crossing through. It's getting exciting, just like we were talking about how the charts would get back to normal. And what I say, we'd be crushing multiple poppers every day. Well, there you go. How many more can you really hit besides that? Just literally over 300 or 400 percenters every day. This week, mostly last week. So let's keep on rocking and rolling them because TRNR, that's another one setting up. We were looking at right on the split. It split on the 11th, so it did split on Monday. And we looked at it. It came down and started to look good, curling up yesterday, and it's curling off that MACD line. It looks really good to run tomorrow as well. So you're gonna probably see a good runner right there, TRNR. So there you go with them three. And I definitely like ELAB, XTIA, TRNR. They look great for tomorrow. And even TANH looks really good for tomorrow. So yeah, there's four right there that are just like amazing for tomorrow morning. Right off the bat. How about that DBGI? I told you if XTX Confidential says one, pay attention. I mean, the guy is like on fire. He says them, and the next day they're going up 40, 50%. So here's another example. We talked about it last night. I even said it was the one he gave us, and it's up over 40% today. Did come down 22% in the after hours, but we're not worried because that thing ran up and you trade them real quick. And so you get your 40% and roll, and it could still possibly run up tomorrow. That could just be an after hours pull back, and it could move some more. They've been doing it. So that's DBGI, and there you go with STX Confidential's pick right there running. So there we are with that one. And I know he has two more picks for today, and I'll let you know. I'll look and see which ones they are. I know I wrote them down. I didn't mark them, but I'll probably remember when I see them. But anyway, we'll get to them. I know exactly which ones they are because it was TNXP and AGRI, and we'll get to them. So there you are. I do remember. I just had it a little dot next to them. LUNR. Here we go. Let's look at this bad boy. LUNR. That one I said would go lunar the other day when it was down here. It was just getting set up down in what, the $7 or $8 area, and that blasted through almost 13 today. So LUNR, it was on 12.99. Yeah, 12.99, and still doesn't look bad. So that's LUNR, and that one ran. Just be careful. It looks like it wants to have a little momentum running into the top, and earnings are coming up on the 14th, which are tomorrow. So be careful with that. You know how we like the earnings. And but yeah, that was a super pop right there. So boom, boom. I didn't even mark any of these, but them first four were just amazing. And like I said, DBGI did run today. Lunar's been running, so be careful with the earnings. It does look like it wants to run up tomorrow, but again, with the earnings, just be careful with that one. Maxon, this one ran up even higher. It's been running up. Remember, we said it was going to get higher than that 1012 or whatever. It was 1266. And it's definitely did that because it got up over what today? 1449. So it's at 1352 and it's about to get into the top, it looks like, and try to run. So keep an eye on Maxon to try to have some momentum, but we were pretty early on that one as well. I know a lot of you smashed that one out of the park because I got a few messages about that one, MAXN, and there you are with that. And we'll look at Peggy. I know it's not in order, but PEGY just because I was thinking about it, and they were both solar companies, right? Yeah, Maxon's a solar company in Singapore, and PEGY is a Pineapple Energy is a solar company in the U.S. And I think Elon was talking about energy being solar. So, you know, that'll bump these up as soon as they start talking about anything right now. And PEGY, let's look at it. It was at 321 to 337. Its low is 310 and it's at 320. Just kind of flat, not showing me anything crazy yet. So we'll look at it tomorrow and see what it wants to do. Just thought about it while I was looking at the other one. But here we are with MVST, Microvast, and this one ran up like over 400% today. And this was definitely on Laptop Travel. He was all about this thing, and it looked good, and that's why it looked good, and that's what it did. It ran from 35 cents to $1.05, and it's at 91 cents right now. So MVST, we were definitely early. It's an electrical equipment and parts company. I know I talked about it. And boom, that one just popped off. I don't even know what the heck they have going on. Maybe earnings. Is it earnings today? Yeah, it's got earnings yesterday. So I'm telling you, earnings right. We looked at it last night and it was right there. And again, it's got like a gray earnings. I don't even know what the heck that means. But if we see a gray again, I'm going to look for it to pop. I don't even know what that means. But Usually they're red or green, and I still don't even look at them to see what it means. I just look at the charts, you know that. But this one went nutty, and that's MVST, and it's in the top. I would look for it for some momentum in the morning because that's what they like to do right now. And let's look at AISP. That one ran up, and it's been in the top. So it ran up from what 340 to 440 today. It's at 379 in the after hours, and that's that Airship AI Holdings. And we looked at that way down here in the twos, and that one's moving. So AISP, again, momentum play in the morning, if anything, because it's already run up there and we had it way down at the bottom. But there's AISP. And how about that BTCT? It was pulling back and then it ran way up. I think that's going to be its top right there. I think it got to like 26. Yeah, 26.58 it got to. It was pretty wild. BTCT. And it just went crazy. It's at 1850 right now. Maybe it tries to still run up there. I mean, it's way up there at the top, so I'm not sure exactly what it wants to do. But if it's moving in the morning, it's a quick momentum play. It could get shorted down pretty quick at this point. It got crazy. So that was BTCT, and that ran 2 days, and that was a China hardware. See what I mean with these China companies can go crazy. I know I used to talk about it, and now I think you guys got to experience a little bit of everything. I used to say, this is the craziest market to learn anything because it was so wild and hard to read. And now I used to explain like the China companies can go crazy and the MACD couldn't cross through and this and that. And now you're actually seeing what I was talking about. It's kind of cool, I think. But yeah, you see the China companies go crazy. Now they're crossing through the MACD, running like they should, running multiple days. It's still tricking my eyes because I'm so hesitant and we've had to be for so long that, you're like, oh man, I can't possibly run anymore. And that's where that FFIE got me too. I mean, I wasn't worrying about it, but again, it was just, they were so hard to pay attention, like to see them where they wanted to go. At least now, if you know they can run in the top, you can kind of get an idea if they're going to stay up there. And, but before, you couldn't even tell anything. It was just absurd. It was the craziest stock charts I've seen. Like I tell you all the time, in over 20 years, it was that crazy. So I'm so excited that they're getting back to normal. And again, I just have to get used to it and kind of trust what I look at because it was just such a mess before that you couldn't trust anything. So there you go. BTCT did run back up, but again, it ran up to 17 yesterday, pretty much where it's high or where it's at right now. So it's a little higher than where its high was yesterday, but it did run up to like 26 something. What a beast that one is, BTCT, but we were all over that. I mean, I added it to the list and right when it was down at the bottom, right before it blasted off, and that was a nice one. How about Nature's Miracle, NMHI? It did run the other day. We looked at it on the 7th, and then it ran up some more today because we were looking at it last night. It opened at 13, went up to over 22 cents, and it's back to like 14 or 13, somewhere's in that ballpark right there. NMHI, it says 13 on mine. Still doesn't look bad on mine. Looks a little worse on this, but I could say this doesn't even look bad. It didn't even cross through. Let me see. Oh, I missed that. It did cross through. Yeah, I would look for this to try to run up some more tomorrow. NMHI. So keep an eye on that one. And they're even spiking up like that without momentum really and still getting back up to running. So it's like they could never do that before. This had over 1 billion in volume, Nature's Miracle. It had 1.33 billion in volume. That's insane. So yeah, look at that tomorrow as well because that one's probably going to keep its momentum with volume like that. And there you go with that one. FOXO, we saw this one too. I know it didn't really pop up as high as it did yesterday, but it still ran up pretty well. And today, what it do? 109 to 114 came down to 76, ran back to 92. That one had 41 million in volume. So the markets are it's pumping. People are buying stuff, that's for sure. Buying and selling and profiting and getting wild. Remember, I told you it was going to, and I think I'm having a great time. It's probably why I have to put these videos up and I just been trading nonstop. It's been a very exciting between crypto and this market. It's been crazy. Options and crypto. It's nonstop profits and I love it. So everybody else just like I said, get ready and I know some of you are definitely locking in some profits already and it's only going to get better. So let's buckle up and get cruising here. So there's Foxo, it's way at the top. And again, I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. So be careful with that. If it pops up tomorrow, it's going to stay up there. It could get shorted out of the top finally, but it's been running for a while. They could never do that before. DUO. Let's see this one. It's just pulling back with a nice dip right there. I'll say that. Let me take a better look on mine. DUO. It does have a nice little dip, 90 to 118, back to 75. It's at 81 right now. It doesn't look like it wants to pop off yet tomorrow, but it could be setting up to get moving soon. So I'll definitely take a look at this one tomorrow, DUO, and see what it wants to do. It's just not giving me the best look. It has a nice pullback there, and it's getting set up. It's just not saying that it wants to get popping yet. So I'll keep an eye on that one to see when it wants to get moving because that one will have a bunch of room in its path. It's yeah, just let it come down to that basement. It's like I said, 78. It was on October, what day is that? October 2nd. Its high was 467 and it's at 78 cents now. So it isn't looking bad. It's just pulling back and it will set up and move. So we'll keep an eye on that one. DUOEFSH. That's like 18 something, 1847 holdings. And it recently split and it's curling up really nice. That one also split on Monday on the 11th. So let me see. EFSH. Yeah, that one's curling up. You want to keep an eye on this one as well because it's curling up right there, looking good. And it's not too far out, I'll tell you that. It's probably a day or so out, it looks like. Depends how it opens tomorrow, but it's not looking bad on either chart right there. So keep an eye on that one because it's getting ready. It's definitely setting up, I'll tell you that. And we know that they curl up. We have to get that look now exactly when they want to start moving. Now are they going to wait until they get crossing through or hit the line? Before it was like a day out, 2 days out and that's when they would pop and then they would just pull back. They would cross through the MACD. It didn't matter. They could run through that like it was until like they could just go straight up and it didn't matter. They would still pull back. So now we just I gotta get a good look at some of these crossing through and just see what exactly they want to do. So I've been looking at some. Honestly, none that I've even seen have been crossing through exactly, just in the timing of it. They're all bouncing off something or so there's a few that are setting up that I have an eye on and we'll keep an eye. I even had my scanner. I was looking at them. There was a couple, but it wasn't enough to really get a great look. So I'll look at it, you know that, and we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, we're just gonna keep smashing all these poppers because there's plenty of them and then these curl up ones, they're amazing too. They run really, really well, and especially when you know to look on them. So we'll get that down, and then we'll be cruising with every which way. JTAI, this one did split too. Remember we were talking about it yesterday or the other day. It was splitting. It split yesterday, and it's bouncing right up there. So watch this tomorrow. It did bounce yet today. It ran from 680 to up to 1036. It never even crossed through. It's just like bouncing. Its low is 631. It's at 770 right now. And like I said, it looks like it's has momentum to get out of that basement and start really curling up. So I'll look at this in the morning as well, see if it wants to keep on moving there, but it very well could after that split. And again, they've been able to keep some momentum as before. They just, they ran for that day and it was a wrap. And I think everybody kind of remembers that. So you have to try to take into account what was happening and they shift a little bit. So now are they gonna run multi days like they never did before and actually pop out of the basement like they should and actually pop up? So a couple different things we're looking at, and they're just setting up to be normal again, which is a beautiful thing. I'm so excited about that. It makes it so much easier, that's for sure. So I'll look at JTAI and tell you if it wants to hit that bottom line and pull back, but I don't know if it does. It looks like it has pretty good momentum there. ARBK, let's see what that is. Argo blockchain. And this one's going to set up. I think it might have to pull back. It ran up today pretty good. 135 to 154, it looks like. ARBK. I never even heard of this one. 129 to 154, and it still doesn't look bad on mine. Doesn't even look bad on here, but it did run up, so it's sitting right there. I'd have to look at it. It could pull back a little bit into the 120s. It could run up a little bit and then pull back. So it's setting up though. That might be one that I have to keep an eye on. Let me jot that down. ARBK, because that is going to set up in like the next month or so. It's a UK capital market, so it's a financial one. I'm not sure what they have going on, but some kind of blockchain. I'll check it out. And but it is setting up and it's going to want to blast off, and we'll see what's happening with them. Maybe we'll have to look at the UK capital markets and see if they want to run. So we'll keep that in mind right there. ARBK, AGRI, another one. Here we go. AGRI, this is an STX confidential one for tomorrow. It is curling up really nice. It ran up today from like 4 to 5 cents. Let me look on mine to get a better idea. AGRI, that's that AgriForce growing system. 5 cents to 9 cents. Did it run like the after hours, but it's curling up really, really nice there. On FinViz, it says about 5 cents to 6. That's why I had to look on mine. This one had like 290 million in volume during the day. And yeah, it is curling up really good there. AgriForce. So keep your eye on that bad boy. I like it right there. STX Confidential. And let's look at the other one, TNXP. I know we looked at this the other day, possibly even last night too. And let's see what it's up to. It's just had its earnings, didn't it? Today it had its earnings. Yup. No, yesterday on the 12th. Today is the 13th. Had its earnings yesterday. It ran from about 15 and then it dipped down a little bit. So it was in the 15s, dipped down. Let me look at it on mine. TNXP. I know it was looking good the other day. Just a little healthy pullback right there. And let's just see. It's just it's trying to get curled up right there, and it looks like it's trying to do the right thing. If it stays up right here over that 15 cent area, if it opens up around there on that 15 cent area, it is gonna pop up. That's for sure. So definitely keep your eye on this as well. And it very well could. It's just had a little bit of pullback. And again, it had its earnings yesterday, so they're hard to see on the earnings. And what I would have thought is it was going to pop up. It did a little bit. It ran like 14 cents to what, 15 yesterday? Yeah. In the lower 14s, then was 15 and a half, but nothing crazy. And that was with its earnings. And today it just kind of healthy pullback. And like I said, it's still rolled off the MACD. It's up. It just has that look like it could go either way. But I think, and it's almost in between that channel. So like I said, 15 cents, look at it, and then there's a little resistance at about 15 and a half cents. And once it gets over that, there's nothing in its way. So that's what you're looking at, and just see if that's where it opens up at around that 15 cent area. So I'm gonna write 15 cents so I know what to look at. And there you are, TSSI. Let's see, what does that even say? Is that what I even wrote? I don't even know. I think so, but maybe that's not what it was. I'm not sure. But let's look at the yin and the yang real quick. And if anyone knows what that's supposed to be, just let me know and I'll look at it. The yen was down today, another 20 cents, and it is going down. And let me just look at it on mine, see what it did in the after hours there. It opened at 29, it came down to 28, and it's at 28.23. So it's definitely down some, and that's the yin. And now let's look at our yang. It was up 22 cents, another 22 in the after hours, and it looks like it wants to kind of get cruising. It was just a little bit flat right there, but it is curled up. Looks pretty good to me. And let's see on here, just a little bit flat, but again, looks good. And your 20's right underneath of it right there and curling up to it. And your 50's all the way up here at like $97. So it could get moving right there. And let's see what's going to happen. I think tomorrow it's going to try to keep on moving. It looks like it's building its base and trying to get rolling here. So that's the yang. And I think that's going to keep on going up, and the yin will continue to go down. MSOS, remember we were talking about these cannabis ones, and it was its bottom yesterday. Well, it's making a big hook. It actually already bounced right out of the basement there, and it was up today, 477 to 532, and it closed around 519, 525 in the after hours. So again, we'll go through a couple of these cannabis ones real quick, but MSOS, oh, let me type it in. There we are. Yeah, it's still curling up and looking really good right there. So keep an eye on that one. And it is an ETF, so keep an eye on that cannabis ETF right there, MSOS. And Hexo, let's look at that one. Is it that one I gotta look on I believe on stock charts, maybe not. Maybe Hexo's not even there. What happened to Hexo? Thought it was there. Maybe not. I don't even know. I just figured it was, but maybe Hexo, HEXO. I'll just take that one right off. I just thought of a cannabis one right off my top of my head, and I was like, oh yeah, Hexo. I don't even know. I'll have to look and see what happened to it. Maybe they changed their name and merged with somebody. I don't even remember. Now I'm trying to remember and I can't. Tilray, let's move on though. Tilray, let's look at that. TLRY. This opened at 149 to 152 and it came back down to 140 and it's at 147. And let me just see what Tilray's trying to do here. It is trying to set up as well. This is a cannabis one. It's just hitting that bottom. That bottom was yesterday at 136. And I'm telling you, this one's setting up. So keep your eye on Tilray brands, because that is getting set up. TLRY. Let's look at Curaleaf. That one I do have to look on the stock charts or mine because it doesn't have it on the it's an OTC now, Curaleaf. It's like the largest what the heck? Let me bring it up on mine. It's like the largest dispensary and cannabis company, and it's an OCT. So it's CURLF. That's what it is. And that one's starting to curl up. So keep your eye on that. CURLF. I put FL. All right, there you go. Curaleaf. But yeah, it came out of the basement and another one. It's making that big old fish hook up and looking good. So another cannabis company, like I said, Curaleaf. Just keep your eye on that one as well because I'm telling you, these cannabis companies are doing the whole sector's looking well right there. SNDL. Let's see. That one is also just kind of pulling back, and they are. They're just kind of pulling back to them bottoms and setting up to run. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with cannabis, but something's happening here. So keep your eye on all these bad boys because they're looking good. And like I said, the ETF MSOS is good. YOLO, YOLO, that was up 11 cents. We looked at it last night. Another one making that huge hook up and bounced out of the bottom. And that's another cannabis ETF. So there you go with the cannabis ones. And just, oh no, I skipped Canopy Growth, CGC, and there's other ones, but I just threw a few on. And this one, I think they just had their earnings recently on the 8th. And this one looks like it's trying to bottom out right there and then try to turn around and get moving. So keep your eye on Canopy Growth, CGC, because that's looking much better as well. And there you go with some cannabis stocks right there. And let's go ahead and look at FFIE because it wasn't looking bad yesterday. It was down today. I looked at it and it was still pulling back, but doesn't even look that bad. So Let me see if it wants to roll right off it. What am I writing? Typing. Let me see if it wants to roll off that MACD tomorrow, and then we'll see if it wants to get moving. The 20 is up a little bit at 195. This is at 142, 144 in the basement. I just want to see if it's trying to curl back down. So I'll keep an eye on that one right there and see what it wants to do in the morning. Nope, I can't grab my pencil. Here we go. Um, we looked at Peggy already. This one caught my eye today. HURA. I don't know what's going on here, but something's happening. So HURA, let's look at it. It's called like Two Hura Biosciences. I don't have no idea what it's even called, but it tried to curl through back here on November 1st. And then it couldn't get through and it started to dip. And then today it looked like it had its bottom. It opened at 494, it went to 505, came back down to 440, and it's at 494. And it's trying to get curled up there and do something, guys. So keep your eye on it. It's setting up pretty bullish here. And that's HURA. We haven't looked at it. And when I add them to the list, you know what's gonna happen with that thing. It's curling up and looking good. So keep an eye on that HURA because it grabbed my attention today when I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, that one looks pretty good." So there you go with that one. COT, that one's moving up. It was up 3 cents today. And that's that Australian oil seeds. And it's just kind of cruising up there. It's not going wild, but it did move up. So that's COOT and another one that we had looked at and was moving up. ABVE, that's above food ingredients. We had looked at it before. It looked good yesterday, and I think it's just trading in between that channel right there of like the 48. It's at 47 right now. So 47 and 54, but it looks like it's in between that channel. It'll probably bounce back up a little bit. And this one looks like it wants to get set up. We had looked at this before. It ran 52 to 69 today. I didn't even know it ran that high because this doesn't say that. So it doesn't tell me everything. But anyway, it ran 52 to 69, and that kind of changes things because it looks a little different. So I'll have to look at this one in the morning, ABVE. Now you know why I like to look at multiple charts because I mean this one looks like it's ready to roll and it doesn't tell me that it got to whatever 69 cents. What did I say? Yeah, 69 cents. So it makes a huge difference when it's just telling me its high was 52. Definitely a big difference right there. So anyway, that's why I look at multiple charts just to make sure that I know what I'm looking at. And there you go. So we'll have to take a peek at ABVE. And how about the Blue Jay BJDX? And this one it did run up, remember, on the 5th, and it tried to run up. We saw it. It did run up yesterday. Remember, we said it was going to fly up, and I never even posted it yesterday because there were so many other ones flying. But yeah, this one ran yesterday from 10 to 14, and then today, 9.5 up to 11.5. Doesn't even look bad. The Blue Jay should still try to fly. It came back down to 8 in the after hours. Let me see. It is down to 8. Well, maybe not because it did come back a little bit. We'll see what it wants to do. It did pull back, but I mean, it ran yesterday right when we said. So we looked at it Monday and we had looked at it before, and that Blue Jay did get flying up some, and now it's just pulling back. I'll see what it wants to do in the morning. Another one I'll look at and see what the Blue Jay's doing. BJDX, ITRM, let's see what that's up to because I'm telling you, this thing just got set up super bullish. They just had their earnings, or they have them tomorrow. I'm sorry, they have earnings tomorrow. So we are not going to mess with it, but it is setting up to be super bullish here. So ITRM is looking good. Just let me keep an eye on this one, and I'll let you guys know when it wants to run up again. Because remember, I told you it was getting ready to run, and it went from like 119 to 232 pretty immediately. So that was just another one we added to the list, and then boom, it got popping off. So let me just look at it, see when it's ready, and we'll get cruising with that again. VCIG. Let's see that VCI Global was down 15 cents today. It recently split. We've been just watching it. A 1 for 49. That's an interesting one. And just been pulling back, hasn't gotten ready yet. It could be its bottom. Doesn't really appear to be, so I'll keep my eye on it. That's all I've been doing with this one. It looks like it's trying to curl up, but I don't think it's ready yet. So I will watch that one tomorrow and see what it wants to do. WTO, let's just see what U time LTD wants to do here. It was just kind of running flat. It ran up the other day on Monday, and it's just running flat right there. Let me see on mine if I can get a better look. Not really. It's just kind of flat right there. So we'll see what it wants to do. 38 cents. Its low is 34. It's right around 35 or 36. And I'll have to look at that tomorrow just to get a better idea. I think it is going to get set up to move. And EJH was back 2 cents. This one had run up two on Monday, kind of pulled back. And I think this one's getting set up to run, guys. I think today might have been a little pullback bottom look on EJH. I want to take a look at this tomorrow and see if it's trying to get rolled off of there. It just has that look. I'm not saying it's a definite yet, but I'm going to be watching this one to see if it has that look where it's going to roll off. So I'm going to mark that one for a roll off just so I know what to look at. And all right, so I'm going to look at that one, EJH, because that one, if it wants to roll off, it's going to get moving. And it's one of these China ones, and you guys know what it can do. And this one has a lot of room. I mean, 89. This thing could easily, it could go to like $9 from 89 cents. And you've seen them do it already. So that's why I'm watching it, because it has the potential. I'm not telling you it's doing it yet, but I'll watch it tomorrow to see if it's getting that setup look. And I'll let you guys know. DXYZ. This is that other one that Destiny Tech that has a in at SpaceX, and it looks like it's trying to crawl back up at the top. But again, let it run up there, maybe a momentum play tomorrow morning. But I would rather get it when it pulls back and ride it up from that bottom than rather than take it from the top and try to mess with it. So that's all. When we started looking at it, just blasted right off the very next day. I mean, if you didn't catch it right then, it just started moving up to the top. And so we'll see. And even if it wants to make a base, but you don't want to get caught in this and have it get shorted down or pull back. And then you're stuck in it, or your options expire if that's the way you take. I don't even know if it has options. It doesn't. I remember someone said it. But yeah, you definitely don't want to get stuck in it at the top and it pull back on you. So we'll get the bottom price on that, and that's not a problem. IXHL, let's look at that one real quick. Down 25 cents. It was in the top. You couldn't tell if it wanted to run up or not. Looks like the 25, it might pull back to the 242 area. We'll have to see tomorrow what it wants to do and see if it wants to bounce back up. I don't even know what I'm typing in. But yeah, let's see if it wants to bounce back up there and hit that 20 when it's coming up. So I'll take a look at that tomorrow as well. And I had added a few of them. Do we have a really big list? So I had to add a few on here. So KDLY, let's look at Kinley MD. And this one's interesting. It has a really interesting look. That hard line's coming down. It could just be getting set up until next week. If it can get jumped up to that 94, like over 94 and a half, it's at 82 right now. But if it can get there, then it'll be in good shape. So I'm not exactly sure if it's ready just yet, but keep an eye on it, because if it's trying to move, it has that weird look. It obviously opened and closed right around the same price, and it's just right about there. You just can't exactly tell. So keep an eye on that one, because it's definitely setting up KDLY. And let's look at KOLD, that good old cold. And that was down 415. And I believe Boyle was up. We were saying this one was going to pull back and Boyle was going to go up. Let's look at Boyle real quick. Boyle was up 256 and looks like it wants to pop off. So Boyle does look like it wants to run up to like that $60 area, possibly. It's at 43. So keep your eye on that one, as a matter of fact. And yeah, cold. I just want to look at these on my end. KOLD does look like it's pulling back there, and Boyle does look like it's trying to move. So I would say that's the case right now for Boyle and Cold. And they're the natural gas ETFs right there. And Hut. Hut 92 cents. It was up today at 24.78, up a little more in the after hours. It's way at the top, and that could have been its top. It was up to like $28. So be careful with Hut, and it will come back and then obviously run up another one. You don't want to get caught up at the top and have it pulling back on you. And that has something to do with some crypto stuff. So that's HUT, and that is Hut. So there you go with that bad boy. And let's look at OCGN. We're just going to fly through as many as we can real quick. OCGN was pulling back a little today. Came back. It's just trading between that 50 and the 20, but it did pull back. It ran up. We'll have to see if it wants to hit that line and get set back up and moving. But it did run up the other day when we thought. And now we'll just see if it's trying to roll off of there. If it gets rolling off, and it very well can because it's hitting the 20. If it stays right there and curls it up, it has a lot of room. So it can go from like 95 to it can pretty much go into the high one dollar area, like 180s. So we'll see what OCGN wants to do. It's been trying to build a base down here anyway, and we'll see if it's trying to move. I'll keep an eye on that one. Hillyvax, HLVX. This was down 8 cents today and just had that pullback look. I know it ran up yesterday, and I guess that was its top where it got to yesterday was 202, and then today's top was 197. It opened at 195 and then came back. It's at 190, hitting a 20 though, and it's hard to tell. I mean, it might want to turn around and run again. It's very hard to tell on this one. So just I would look for some pullback on HLVX and we'll see what that wants to do. That GFAI ran yesterday. It was up another 2 cents. And I'll tell you what, it's not looking bad right there. I think you're gonna have one that pops off tomorrow. So that's why I meant to add it to the list earlier and talk about it. But yeah, GFAI, I think that one's going to be trying to move again. And it was. It was running up the other day or yesterday. I forget. Maybe Monday it was running up. I don't remember which day it was, but it's been moving around. And I think that one wants to try to move some more. So keep your eye on it. It's right there. I mean, it's looking pretty good to me, to be honest with you. So, and it has some room. So that's GFAI, and that could be cruising in the morning. This one was pulling back a little and then up a penny in the after hours, and it just keeps pulling back further from that 20. That's at 76, and this is at 52. And I don't know if it's gonna get set up anytime soon. So I'm not sure what Went's doing. I was looking at it, but we might just have to say forget about it and see if it gets set up down the road. That's WINT. Lucid LCID up 4 cents. And again, this one we picked out the other day. It ran up and it's curled up. I'm telling you, this thing wants to move. So keep an eye on LCID because it looks really good too. I would say it wants to get rolling and it could get popping tomorrow as well. So keep your eye on that LCID. It did run up the other day to what, 241 area. And I think it's getting right past that. So if it gets up to that 238, again, 241, it's blasting off. And that's LCID. And let's take a look at IOVA because this one took a big old dip too, I believe, today. If I remember correctly, let me type it in first. IOVA. Yeah, down 69 cents. And I mean, it looked like it wanted to set up and get moving. It had its earnings the other day on the 7th. And now I guess it's just going to come back down to the bottom. So let me see when it wants to get bouncing back up IOVA. But it definitely took a nice dip. I thought it was going to try to bounce back after yesterday's dip, and it continued to dip a little more. So we'll look for that bottom. Maybe it's going to come right down to that bottom and want to bounce off. And that's the spot you're obviously going to want to get it at. So we'll keep an eye and see if that's what it wants to do. And that's IOVA. And you know, once it gets down there and it wants to bounce, it'll bounce. So BSLK was down 4 cents. And again, this one came out of the basement and just peeking itself back in. I can't tell if that wants to be the bottom right there, BSLK. So I'll keep an eye on it tomorrow and see if it wants to bounce up. If not, we won't worry about it too much because It could get moving. I mean, the 20's coming down at 39. This is at 30. It was looking better the other day, and it did pop up there on the 8th. So I'll keep an eye on it, BSLK, but we won't have to go over it every day if it's not getting set up. HAO, let's see, that one was this one was trying to get set up. It's just running right there on that line on the bottom, and the 20 curled through it, and I don't know why it's not moving yet. So keep an eye on this thing because it does want to bounce, and I have a feeling it's going to bounce sooner than later. So HAO, I think, is definitely getting set up to move. I think it's just taking its time. RGF, that real good food company, was down 2 cents. And I'll tell you what, I'm surprised this one actually pulled back. And I guess this one, I mean, it was curling up right there trying to get through the other day. It looked great on the 8th. And then on the 11th, so Monday, it jumped up a little bit. And remember, yesterday it pulled back, and I couldn't tell what the heck it wanted to do. I thought it was going to bounce up, but it decided to bounce down. And now's probably the time to really look at it tomorrow. That 26 cent area is probably a really good spot where its bottom is. Just see if it gets into the basement. But I mean, it was set up right there. And I would imagine it's trying to bounce, but I can't guarantee it on RGF. Let me see what it did in the after hours. It is at 27 cents, and yeah, it's a hard one to tell. So I'd have to look at that, and I will definitely look at that one in the morning because I'm interested in that one, RGF. And let's look at GBR. New concept energy. This one's definitely setting up, pulling back a little bit, opened and closed around the same price, GBR. And yeah, it's just kind of running flat. Hard to see what exactly it wants to do, but nothing that crazy yet. So I'll keep an eye on it. And again, it is setting up down the road, like a couple weeks down the road to get really bullish. And that's a real estate company right there. ALLR. That was down a penny, down a little more in the after hours. It did run up yesterday, pulled back a little bit, but didn't look too bad today. I was looking at it, and I think this one has potential to try to crawl right back up and run some more. So keep your eye on ALLR. It could just curl right back up and move. And that edible didn't look bad. I think they had earnings, EDBL. I know we looked at it. It was down 2 cents. And what was their earnings today, right? Yeah, today they had earnings. I don't know what they did. It did pull back in the basement, though, it looks like. It didn't look bad during the day. I didn't see it in the after hours, but it definitely pulled back in that after hour. I can tell it's down to 15 cents. And it opened at 20. Its high was 22 and its low is 14. So it obviously pulled back. Let me look at this tomorrow because it didn't look that bad today. I probably wouldn't even have put it on there today if it looked like that. So that looks like it's pulling back into the basement, but I'll take a look and see if it wants to bounce out. And again, it didn't look too bad today, and that's why I can't do the earnings because there you go. It had its earnings today and I could not tell what the heck it wanted to do, and I just do the opposite. I'm telling you, it's so crazy. It's kind of it's definitely hysterical. But that's why we don't do it. We know we play what we're strong at, and that's what you do in life. You always take the things that you're good at, and then you take that advantage or that angle of it, and not what you're bad at, and try to mess with it. So we just eliminate the things we're bad at and do the things we're good at, and bam, that's what we're gonna do. How about that MEX MEXX? We were looking at it, Mexico's bull shares, and we were talking about it pulling back a little bit. It is and letting it set up. It could come down to 1027. I'm not so sure it wants to, but it could. And we'll watch it if it wants to, because then it could bounce up and go in between this channel. And that top would be in the 12s. So it would be a nice little pop up there. And it is an ETF as well. So we'll keep an eye on that MEXX. I think that looked a little better today too when I looked at it. So I'll take a look at that one, keep an eye on it. QLGN. Now this one does look really good. I think we looked at this last night. I remember it's at 412. It ran from 380 to 433, and it recently split. And I would definitely keep an eye on this tomorrow. QLGN. Well, QLGN. Yeah, that one looks great. So I would say keep an eye on QLGN. That one's looking really solid. How about that DG, which is Dollar General? I think that one was looking really good today. It was up $1.66, and they do have their earnings on December 5th, so they're down the road. And I think this is going to make that hard curl up tomorrow and get moving. So keep your eye on Dollar General right there. DG. I like that one too. That one's good for an option play. It's at what is it even at? Yeah, $76. So I think that's gonna get moving there. Has some resistance up there at 79. And the way I would look at this thing, it's almost at 77. I would take a look at it and say, yeah, I'm pretty confident it'll probably get right through that 77.50 up to, let me look. It's hard to see it on that one, but yeah, it's gonna get right through that 77.50, I think. So I would look, I don't have the option chains up, but I would just look and see what the closest thing is and just make sure you nail it because it's gonna pop up. I did it with snow today. And just for an example, SNOW, um, if you looked at it yesterday or 2 days ago, actually Monday, I even told you guys it opened at 123 and its low is 119. It was right there on that line. Oh, I'm sorry. It opened at 122. Its low is 121. I came off of it, went to fry. I knew it wasn't that low. Um, its low is 121 and that's where it was right on that line. It looked good. And then Tuesday, yesterday, it opened at 123, went up to 127. And then today, it opened at 126 and ran up to 134. And it's sitting at 130. And bam, I mean, just it was a pretty easy one right there. So it ran up over $5. And that's what I'm saying. You just take the ones that you're confident in and that you really know, and you just nail them like that. And it's perfect. This thing may even run into the top tomorrow and get real wild. So that's snow. And we'll come back to that. But just giving you an example. But yeah, you just take it from down here on Monday when it's at its low. You kind of saw right around there at 121. Even if you were at 122 and you picked out it was going to go through 123 and you're sitting at 130, you're in the money and you're looking good. And yeah, your expiration could be this Friday or like in 2 weeks or something. So if it was this Friday, you're definitely in the money, looking great, trust me. So and that's snow and a little option insight right there. And there you go with that. So where were we? That was DG and snow XPON. Let's look at that because it was up 7 cents. I know we had looked at it recently and before, but it looked like it wants to roll off and get moving again. So keep your eye on XPON because I think that's trying to set up the move right there. So keep your eye on that. And this ICCT looked pretty decent today. It was up a little bit. It didn't have crazy volume, over 500,000. So it wasn't too crazy, but not bad. And it's curling through and rolling off the bottom. And again, just a look that we haven't seen in a long time. So it's exciting. Maybe that's why I like it because I'm excited to just see a look like that. So I'll keep an eye on it because like I said, I kind of liked it. Yeah, I don't think I'll be trading it, but I just like the setup look because we haven't seen something like that. And obviously, I like the ones that are either like an E-Lab that it's just going to go flying and has like 500 million in volume, or these bigger options because they're pretty easy to pick out. But again, everybody trades different things and has a different style, so you just adapt to what works for you. And I have a 4-year-old, so some of the penny stocks are a little tough now that they're not like just popping at 4 a.m. It's not as bad. You can kind of, like E-Lab and XTIA, they're gonna run tomorrow. So you can get in and out of them pretty quick and call it a day. But before you couldn't do that. It was just out of control at 4 a.m. And if you weren't there at 4 a.m. to 4:30, you missed the boat. So it wasn't worth even buying them or trying it. And now you can kind of mess around, not mess around, but now you can actually trade them smart and get them. So that's the difference. But yeah, ICCT is looking good, and I'll keep an eye on it because, like I said, it's curling up, curling through, and rolling off that bottom, looking good. and we just haven't seen anything like that. CYN, we looked at that last night. It ran up into the top. It got up from like 562 to 875. And I know we looked at it because someone wanted to see it, and it's up there at the top. So just be careful with that. But it looked like a runner yesterday, and it sure did. It went up over 30% today, that's for sure. And there you go, it's CYN. But again, be careful with that. It did run up. WISA. This one was down a penny, but ran up 4 cents in the after hours. And their earnings are coming up on Friday, the 15th. And it is looking pretty decent. It was just kind of flat, but I think it's setting up. So I think it's going to get up there over that 203 and bounce off. We just have to keep an eye on it. And again, I don't know if we want to mess with it before the earnings, but it doesn't look too bad. And again, if it gets up to that 203, it could bounce off. So I'll keep an eye on it. WISA, it's a semiconductor one, and it has potential, that's for sure. And I know that one's run pretty significantly other times before. So OCTO, we looked at this, it was up 11 cents, and it is in a great spot, guys. And this one could be a runner as well. So keep your eye on OCTO. It got from like 187 to 214 today. It's at 206 right now. And at least in the after hours. And yeah, it looks like it wants to curl through. Has some good resistance at 220, but it's going to get on top of there, make that resistance at support line and blast off. So I'd say OCTO is looking really good right there to run. So keep your eye on that. NXPL, this one I believe is looking good. Next plat, yeah. This one's just set up, rolled up in the right spot. Has that look? It opened and closed in the same price, but it looks pretty solid to run tomorrow. So keep your eye on it. It had a very low volume of 9,000. That's the only thing really holding it back. But I'm telling you, we already know that the volume is in everything. So just keep your eye on it because it wants to go up there. So that's NXPL. And let's take a look at the MDJH real fast and see what that's up to. MDJH, let's see, MDJM LTD. And this one's Curl. Wow, this is a really nice setup right there. MDJH. Oh yeah, that one's really nice, guys. I like that. I think who sent that in? Scott, I think. Somebody sent that in. And that one looks great, guys. MDJH. So I think you definitely want to keep your eye on that in the morning because that one's looking good. It went from like 17 to 19, the high 19s, closed at 18, and it's at 20 in the after hours. Mine says 18 to 27 is what mine says, but mine says it also wants to try to go higher. So that's what it looks like. And that one could really run up. So MD. JH looking really solid right there as well. And how about APT? This one looks pretty crazy too. It has a nice dip down there. It looks like the bottom, and I would have to say that 521, it's at 526, right around that 521, 520 could be its bottom. And APT could get rolling. So just keep your eye on it. It looks like it wants to try to, or at least it's basing out. I would keep an eye on this one as well. I'll look at that in the morning, but it is setting up there, APT. And let's look at a few other ones I added. I don't think they're on the list. Someone sent them in at the afterwards, so I'll blast through a few more. And like I said, we have a huge list. And then Laptop Travel gave us all the ones that would be Trump related. So we'll go through them bad boys too, because that should be pretty fun. And if anybody else wants to see any, let me know, and we'll definitely rock and roll through them. So let me keep on cruising here. We're doing pretty good. BURU, let's look at it. Nubaru down a penny. And let's just see, it pulled back today. And let's just see because this one's setting up. I like that. I'm glad somebody added that to the list. I forget who sent it in, but it's setting up right here, guys. It's curling up and looking good. And it looks like its bottom's established down here at that 40 cents. And that's basically where it's at right now. So I would keep an eye on that BURU. I think it's setting up right there. I will keep an eye on it. That's for sure. Let me look at that one. BURU. Let's look at Holo. This one was pulling back. We'll see if it's trying to bounce at all. It's down 19 cents, and I thought it had crossed through and it started to crawl down the last few days. It was trying to build that base. It could be its bottom, and it might want to try to bounce again. We'll take a quick look at it tomorrow just to see if it wants to, but it appears that it's pulling back at the moment. So that's HOLO, HOLO, and TWG. This was down 3 cents. And this one's gonna make a huge curl. Oh, that's its bottom there today, guys. If you caught that dip, 31 to 17, it's back to 29. If you caught that dip, you were money because this thing is curling up and gonna be a monster in the making. I'm gonna keep my eye on TWG, guys. Good eye. I forget who put these on, but somebody sent them in at the end, and I'm gonna keep my eyes on that TWG because that is going to be a monster in the making right there. You can just see it happening already. Its volumes over 5 million too. Oh my goodness. Just keep your eyes on this top wealth, guys. Hong Kong food distribution. They must be giving out food or something because this thing looks like it's going to get wild. So we're going to keep our eye on that one. That's for sure. TWG. And let's take a look at ASRT. Funny this was on the list because I was looking at this today, as a matter of fact, and it was down at the bottom. It looked like it's had some earnings the other day, November 11th, so they were Monday, and it looked like it pulled back right there on the 8th to 79 and a half. That's probably was its bottom, and it looks like it's trying to crawl off that bottom. So ASRT wasn't looking bad. It's called like a Certio Holdings or something, and it looks like it is trying to crawl up there. It is setting up there. It did look good for a setup real soon. So keep your eye on it. And I did see that today, as a matter of fact. So I'll look at it again tomorrow. And like I said, I have to look and see who added this list. I think it was on stock. I don't even know. Maybe it was on here. I forget. But anyway, that one's a good one to take a peek at. FAMI. This one's pulling back, FAMI. And this one is a China one. It ran up not long ago, but wasn't that crazy. It ran up to 53 cents on October 23rd. It's around 27 cents right now. Just kind of pulling back, FAMI, and just let it pull back a little bit. We'll see if it gets set up. And again, these China ones can get a little wild if they get set up the right way. So we'll just keep an eye on that, FAMI. TOWX. I don't know where that one is. Let me see. TOWX. I don't see that. I don't even know if I wrote the right. Maybe it's Y. Is that a Y? I don't think so. No, I think that's an X. I'm not sure what that is. Wasn't that something? There's something similar to it, I thought, but maybe I'm way off. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, we'll skip that one. I'll figure it out. GOVX, I know that one went down today. It was way up yesterday, and it got into the top very slightly. I honestly thought it was going to try to run up higher because it got in there, and then it just pulled back down. So we'll have to see. It has some really good support down here where it's hitting at that like 231. It's back to 266, 270 area. And so we'll have to see if it wants to bounce back up, GOVX, because again, good support. It could bounce back. I'll take a look at that in the morning, see what it's up to. LGVN, what was the name of this one? Let me look. Oh, Longverin or something like that. Down 18 cents. I remember we looked at this right before it popped up one day, and it's just pulling back on that line, but not looking terrible there. Let me see. Yeah, it's not looking terrible. I'd have to look at this, see if it wants to cross through. I have a feeling it's going to want to pull back to like that 204 area. It's at 209. Its low is 206. It's right around there. Its bottom was probably on November 4th at 193. So this one could get set up again. I'd have to keep an eye on that one and just look at it real quick. LGVN tomorrow. LUXH. Let's look at that Lux Urban Hotel and see what they're up to. It's actually looking really good to try to curl up, guys. So LUXH looks really good here. I would say that's trying to get moving, LUXH. So keep your eye on that one. LUXH, APLM. Let's see. That one pulled back. It got up 12 to 13 and then down to 11. Let me see. What is it again? APLM. Yeah, that one's just pulling back right there. We might have to see if that's going to hit that bottom and try to bounce. GNPX. Genprex was down, and we had run this one up. This one's just pulling back, it appears right there. NXU, and this one is just pulling back now too. Trying to build a base, but it is pulling back there. See if it can stick itself on that 32 and a half. It's at 35 right now. So we'll have to take a look at that and see if it wants to get set up. ENSC, I know this ran up recently. It actually is stair stepping its way up and doesn't look bad. I could see this rolling back up there. ENSC. I didn't even realize it was still running up, but it doesn't look bad right there. So keep an eye on that one. It's continuing to set up there, at least trying to. CERO, I'm pretty sure that pulled back today. I remember seeing down 5 cents, and it was way in the top. But I'll tell you what, it's stuck in the top right there, and it could bounce up tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to, but look at it tomorrow because if it's green and moving, you know it's in the top and it's running up a little. So it could be a little momentum play there. And obviously, we saw this thing way down here, like 6 cents, and you're at 19 to 21 right now. And it had run up even higher yesterday. Remember, it ran way up there past like 33. I think it was in the 40s or something. So that was CERO. And let's look at HOVR, Hover. This one was moving up the other day, and this one's actually getting in the. This could be a nice little momentum play in the morning, too. Keep an eye on this. HOVR. Let's see. Yeah, I would take a look at that in the morning and see if it wants to be a little momentum play there. SVMH. Let's look at that bad boy. That one looks really good. Remember, we were looking at this like a week or two ago. So you might want to keep an eye. Oh, yeah, that one looks pretty damn good right there in the after hours curling up. I would keep an eye on that. SVMH looking real good right there. And BTCS, let's look at that bad boy and see what that's up to. BTCS. Let's see, that ran way up there. That's going to be a Jolie's jumper. I think it already was, as a matter of fact. It ran up today. It's been running up. It's way at the top, though. I'd be very careful with that BTCS. So yeah, you got to be very careful with that. That's only a momentum play. And there you go with them bad boys. And let me see the messages. We'll hit crypto. We'll hit laptop travels list, and then we'll go through our big cap. So we can cruise right through this pretty quick. Here we go. Let me go through the messages and see what I'm missing. And let's see. IO and Q Licho something. How are you this evening? Let's look at that IONQ real quick. Oh yeah, it's been running up too, and it looks like it wants to continue that momentum up there. This is another monster play we looked at before I completely forgot about. There's been so many of them that you can't even remember them all, especially with my brain injury. There's just like tons of them running, and we go through a lot. And then I asterisk some, and I go through them during the day, but now I'm trading them too, and it's just wild. So it's all good. I mean, we all know, whoever listens to the show, we know that we know it's popping in every single one that's moving, and we're pretty on point. So if you're not hitting the poppers, let me know because you should be. I mean, ELAB, XTIA, they're going to be moving tomorrow. TANH looks great. TRNR moving. That AGRI, that STX confidential one, that looks great. TNXP is trying to set up right there. I'm telling you, that HURA looks really good. QLGN's looking great. Dollar General's great for an option play. OCTO's moving. NXPL, MDJH looks great as well. So TWG is setting up really nice, so we'll be keeping our eye on that. So many great ones just setting up. LUXH looks good. So, I mean, and that SVMH, I mean, tons of plays, and just keep your eye on what wants to move in the morning. It depends what time you're on there. And Obviously, the Web Bull was cruising at 4 a.m., but I don't think that's just the case right now. Maybe they are still moving, but they're continuing to move during 7 a.m. and things are still moving around. So, like I said, the market's been shifting and now it looks like it's way better and the charts are getting back to normal. So we can just start ripping through these. As you can tell, we had almost like nine of them popping today, or maybe even more. So let's go through the rest of the list in IO and Q. I mean, that thing's just running in the top. And like I said, I could see it continuing to run up there tomorrow as a momentum play. But just be careful because, like I keep saying, it's way up there and it already ran up there, came out and ran back up. So, and then dipped down. And the second time it ran up, came back and then rolled back up. So, definitely have to be careful, but that thing's been going crazy. IONQ. I have no idea what they're up to, but they have something going on too. And let's see what else is happening here. Let's see. Boom, boom. Let me just look and oh, that was Bruce's loves list there. Cool. I that longer list. I knew somebody sent that in there. And the Shanghai Laptop Travel said the Shanghai Stock Exchange is struggling early in Asia today on Thursday, November 14th. So that's a bullish sign for the Yang. And there you go. Here comes two good ones, I'm sure. QBT and Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab's been going wild, and that's an aerospace and defense. And we looked at that when it was way down. And I remember saying it was like set up to do something, get moving, and it just went astronomically crazy. I wish I had jumped in that one. But let's look at both of them per Luis Rodriguez and see what's happening here. QUBT. Quantum computing. I'm not familiar with this one, but it did run up today. And honestly, before you got this look, and it was immediately you were like, all right, that's coming down. But now you get this look, and they're kind of staying up there. And there you go with them gray earning looks. I'm gonna look for these gray earnings. I don't even know what the hell that means, guys. Like I said, I've only seen them like green and red, and now all of a sudden they're gray. But they keep popping too, so I'm gonna look for it. Anyway, I could see this staying up there and being a momentum play. And this ran from like 144 to 342. QUBT. Yeah, 138 to 359 says on mine, and it's up there at 356. So, like I said, it looks like it wants to stay up there in the morning and continue to run up. So, I would play it early and that momentum play right there for QUBT. But that was a monster right there, up over like 100%. And RKLB Rocket Lab, I believe that's what this is. I might have been talking about the wrong. Yeah, it is Rocket Lab, and it was up another $4 today. It's in the 18. It got up to like 20 something. Yeah, 22.55 is what it says. And I would definitely be careful. It had its earnings yesterday, and I would have said yesterday, I would have been like, that thing's gonna probably have to come down on them earnings. And somehow the earning thing is red, and it popped up today like a maniac because yesterday it closed at 1466 and today it opened at 1924 and ran to 22. So I am the worst at the earnings calls, I can promise you that. And I think this one's going to pull down, so just be very careful at Rocket Lab. And I know we looked at it when it was down here in like the fours because I remember this bad boy when we went through the aerospace and defense ones. So that is Rocket Lab, and I would be very careful with that one, Luis Rodriguez. But QUBT should be pretty safe to play in the morning, I would assume. So there you go with them bad boys. And let's see what else is going on here. Just looking, I don't see anything else. Let me know if I missed anybody's real quick. And IONQ, I don't see anything. Let me go through Laptop Travels. Trump list right here. Stocks that should benefit from Trump. The first one's going to be that Viking. I meant to do that one earlier. VKTX. That's at Viking Therapeutics, and it did take a huge dip today. And I'm going to say it's probably going to hit that bottom. It's super set up. I think it's going to be good now. I mean, that's a really nice dip on it. It could be that dip and rip. I know we probably said it yesterday and maybe the day before Monday, and it keeps pulling back. So again, just look for that reversal of when it comes down and starts bouncing back up there, and you'll know it's ready to move because it's way down at the bottom. So. I don't think it's going to get into the basement, not with this look. And I'm going to keep an eye on that tomorrow as well, VKTX, because that could have that bounce look right there. And let's go ahead and look at these Trump ones. Rumble, we know that software application can benefit from the Trump administration. It had run up there. It's been running up. And today it's 605 to 618. Came down to 565, but now it's still at 615. So. It did bounce around a little bit right there, but yesterday it was in the sevens, and the day before that it was in the 729 was a tie. So Rumble's just pulling back here, but nothing crazy. And yeah, they had earnings recently on the 12th too, and it was what said it was red, and then it just it did kind of bounce up and it bounced down. I don't know. I can't tell. But anyway, that's Rumble, RUM. Let's look at JPM. JP Morgan, that's up $1.60. This might be a good one to look at too. Um, it does look pretty bullish right there at 241. It looks like it wants to get back up to that 248 area right now. So that's JPM. Let me just take a look at it and see like long term. It's way up there and it's just it runs really nice. I would say it's going to continue that run. JPM, that's good old JP Morgan. It doesn't look bad. And BAC is Bank of America, and this is way at the top. I think this one's going to pull back, but it's pulling back to set up, and it is getting bullish. So I could see that one doing pretty well too, and it looks long term pretty bullish. So that's BAC, Bank of America. And I think Buffett just sold like a ton of that. And it is pulling back, like I said. You could buy it right back up on the dip, but anyway, it is setting up to pop up there. BAC and WFC. What's that? Wells Fargo. I thought it was a bank. I couldn't remember which one it was. There it is. It's Wells Fargo. That makes sense. WFC. And that's at the top too. I'd be careful. I don't think it's getting over that top. So I think that's going to pull back. But again, another one that's set up pretty bullish up there and they've just run up. When did it pop up there on the election? Maybe November 6th. There you go. So right after the election, these bank ones went nutty, and like I said, they ran up, and now they're just going to pull back and set up to get cruising some more. And let's look at GS, which is Goldman Sachs. And that's way up there. The same situation. They're all up at the top. They all ran up and they're all looking bullish right there. So yeah, Goldman Sachs 594, 596. That's looking good up there. So keep an eye on Goldman Sachs. That wants to move. And Morgan Stanley, which is MS, the same situation. I'm telling you, every bank one looks the same. They all bounced after the election, and now they're all in the top, just running around up there. But they are going to top out, pull back a little bit to run higher. So they're basically building a base to make, and then they're going to make some room on the chart and run up. So keep an eye on these big banking ones because they are going to run. EVR. Evercore, that's a capital market one. That's down $5. That one's actually pulling back at the moment, so we'll let that one pull back a little bit. But again, setting up super bullish there. I mean, if it pulls back, it's at 301. It came down a little more than that. I think it's at like 280. Let me look. EVR. Yeah, it's at 301 it says right now, but I'd have to look at it tomorrow. But yeah, it looks like it's just pulling back a little bit, but again, setting up super bullish right there. EVR, I'm not even familiar with that. LNG, I'm not familiar with this energy company either. Cheniere or somebody. But anyway, it's down $4. This one ran up like crazy, and it's going to come down and set up to be bullish. You can see it's bullish over time, but it is going to pull back because it ran up wild. BTU, Peabody Energy. Oh man, this one's setting up to be super bullish. It was up 86 cents, and it looks like it's going to roll off and start moving up some more right now. So you keep an eye on BTU because that one looks really good. And you're going to have a nice setup on that one. BTU, COP. Let's look at that. good old Cop. They're going to be good. They're going to get funding finally, but this is not Cop. It's good old ConocoPhillips, the oil and gas company. But I was just joking around. But yeah, the cops are going to get funded again too, and so is ConocoPhillips because it's looking hot to keep rolling up right there. And I think this is going to keep crawling up and moving. So COP, Cops looking good, and so is ConocoPhillips. So both of them looking nice. I would say COP could be a really nice option play right there. So keep an eye on that bad boy. CVX, let's see what that's up to, Chevron. Oh man, that one looks great, guys. That's going to pop up into the top. Chevron, CVX. Good old Chevron looks great. It ran up today and it's going to continue tomorrow. If you want to see one that's going to run up tomorrow, CVX is doing it. So keep an eye on that bad boy. What else do we have here? UNH, it says. Let's look. These are fun. Down 880. This is a United Health Group and it's at 605, 609 the after hours. Just kind of a little pullback, obviously ran up, it looks like in the after hours, but yeah, it looks like it's just pulling back. But this one over time is definitely bullish as well. And the entire market, I think, is entirely bullish. Whoop, I guess I gotta type in HUM. Humana, this one is a healthcare plan one up 936. And you know what? I saw Aflac the other day. I don't know if that's on here, but that one looked crazy good. So we're gonna look at that one next. I just remember, but this Humana HUM looks really good right there. So take a look at that bad boy. That one looks like it wants to get running up right now. HUM. Yeah, that one looks real good. And what I say, Aflac, AFL, that's what it was. And that one's at 110. And what was it? Because it was down here the other day at like 109. What was that price? That was too far ago. It was definitely down here at like 108. So it's up at 1010. And this one was crawling through and looking decent right there. Let me look. The other one, Humana, looked even better, but Aflac doesn't look bad either, AFL. So that one's set up to be really bullish over time and could possibly even pop up right now. So that one's looking good. TXN, what's that? Texas Instruments. I remember them. They have make good calculators, and they're into the semiconductor industry now. And let's see what they're up to. They make the good old TI. What I don't even remember what the numbers were, but I'm sure everyone had them calculators growing up, and then you even had the graphing one if you were in whatever class that was, calculus or whatever, and all that good stuff. So bringing back old school days. Now I don't think they use TIs. They just use their phone and they have every app they could imagine. They have the TI app, I'm sure, and the Texas Instrument app. But anyway, let's look at this company. It's up to 205. That's why they're in the semiconductor business now. It's just pulling back, but another one just setting up to be bullish, but it is pulling back at the moment. Good old TXN. AMAT. Applied Materials is another semiconductor, and this one has earnings coming up on the 14th, which is tomorrow, and it's pulling back. It looks like it wants to bounce off, but I would say it's probably going to go down a little bit, but it's setting up to be really bullish. So let's look at that after the earnings and see what it wants to do. KLAC, KLA Corp, this is another semiconductor. Oh yeah, this one's setting up super bullish and pull back too, like really nice. This could be a little bouncing dip and rip situation. So watch for a little bounce play on that one. Just keep an eye on that and see what it wants to do right there. I know F is going to be Ford, and that one's setting up. Oh yeah, Ford is looking good to set up, guys. So I would say Ford's looking good in the near future. So keep your eye on that. Building a nice base right there where it's at the $11 area. And GM, I believe, was next. Yeah, GM, General Motors. And this one's at the top. It could run up there, but obviously let it pull back down to like the 55s. It's in the 57s. And that one's going to keep staying bullish and running. So there you go with that. NUE. Nucor Corp. Oh yeah, steel company, huh? This one's actually pulling back and but it is setting up bullish up there. and this is at 152, and it'll probably bounce off the MACD right there. NUE. Let me look at it on my end. Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to end up rolling off the MACD and really popping back up. Just let it pull back at the moment. And let's keep an eye on STLD. We're looking at Steel Dynamics, and that's down to, oh, this one's setting up super bullish. It was just in the top and ran up there to the 155 area. It's at 145. See if it can come back to the 138s and bounce off that MACD. But this one's setting up super bullish also. STLD and TSCO. Tractor Supply Company down for, oh man, this one's going to set up super bullish too. This one's about to get rolling, guys. TSCO, the tractor factory is looking pretty decent. I have to look at this tomorrow to see if it wants to roll off that MACD right there. So let me look at that one tomorrow. TSCO, because that could be getting set up really good. And let's look at Deere and Company. That's probably John Deere, and that's down 430, but it's pulling back. And once it gets ready to rock and roll, probably after these earnings are November 21st, and it'll probably get cruising after that. Deere, and it had a nice dip today down to 389, so that could even be a little dip and rip situation, a little bounce back. So we'll keep an eye on DE and see what John Deere or Deere and Company want to do. And let's look at FLR. Let's see what that's up to. FLR, I don't know how to even say it, but it's an engineering and construction company. But keep an eye on it. It's at 50.33. It was just in the 60s, and it's curling back up and looking decent right there. FLR, I would say keep an eye on that bad boy right now because that one's bouncing back up. So keep an eye on that. It's definitely bouncing. And there you go, FLR and LLY. Which one's that? Is that Lilly or somebody like that? Yeah, Lilly Ellie. That's a drug manufacturer down a little bit, down and pulling back. But when this sets up, it's going to bounce off of this 778 area. It's in like the 800s. It's an expensive one, but they do get cruising right here. It gets back up to the nines. It did pull back. I remember it dipped down on October 30th right there. So it's one to keep an eye on. And like I said, once it bounces back down here, it is going to set up and bounce back up. And that's LLY, Lilly Ellie and Company, MRK, Merck and Company down 8 cents, and another one setting up from the basement. And this one's going to get cruising, guys. So it's at 98. And you might want to keep an eye on Merck. That's going to be a decent one for options right there in the near future, I would say. MRK. Boone, and LDOS. Let's look at that one. Oh, let me type it in. Ledios Holdings or something like that. And it was way in the top there and then 194. I mean, it went cruising from down here at what? 169 area to 190s. Let it pull out of that top, and it does. It goes in the top and stays in there a long time. This is one we definitely want to keep an eye on, guys. I definitely want to look at this. I think I might add this right to the list right now. LDOS. You know why? Because it stays in that top and it's easy to see and it just runs up, and should be a pretty simple one for options. It moves around a couple dollars each day and it should be simple. So we'll keep an eye on this LDOS one too. Ledios or something like that. Lidos, Ledios, holding something. But anyway, there you go. And then the rest of them we're gonna go through anyway with our list. And but yeah, there's a bunch of them right there that will benefit with the Trump administration. I'd say a lot of them are set up, obviously. That what COP is looking decent, and BTU and CVX and that Hum's looking great. Whatever it is, what was it? Humanitarian. Well, I don't know how to say it. I forget what it's even called. Whatever it is, HUM. I know that's the what is it even called now? I forget what it's called. Gotta look and see. Humana, what is it? Humana, that's it. I'm like, what is the name of the company? There it is. HUM, looking good. Who cares what the name is? I tell you, I don't even know what half of them are. FLR looks good right there, and MRK. So a bunch of good ones right now too. BTU, and then let's go through our. Let's look at crypto real quick. See what that's up to. I mean, it's just been insane. That's what it's up to. been absolutely wild. And it's just picking back up. Bitcoin's back at 8. Yeah, Humana, thank you. Humana Health, thank you very much, Laptop Travel. My brain's fried, and I just couldn't think of the name of that. I thought there was an R in it, and I had no idea what I was even saying. So thank you. But anyway, the crypto is crazy. Bitcoin's about to get back to 89,000 or 90,000. It's at 89,900. So it's trying to get back to that 90,000, and it's making a base up here. And it is just wild, guys. I mean, it's insane. Ethereum's at 3,200, and that one is just making a bit, just pulling back a hair, but nothing real crazy. Honestly, they kind of do need to pull back to make more room. Solana's at 215 right there. And another one just kind of pulled back a little bit, and they could all pull back. It looks like it's bouncing back up in the 70 right now as we speak. Doge is back to 38, but it's way up at the 70, and it's probably just going to keep running up here. And even when it pulls back, it'll probably run up even higher. Shiba's up a little bit today, and that is just pulling back on the 70, but I bet it's going to try to bounce back up. Let's look at that SUI. Sui, that's in the 330s. That's up today, and that is kind of bouncing back up. It was pulling back yesterday, and it just kind of rolled right back up. So these things are just staying in the top. It's pretty wild. And that WIF, Laptop Travels Wife's, um, Pet Rock is up to 404. Remember, it was in the threes yesterday, and that thing is just cruising right now. So that was rolling through. We said it yesterday, and it did. It went wild right there. So that went crazy. And how about Bonk? That was going bonkers. Let's look at and see what it's doing at the moment. BONK. It's up a little bit at the moment, and it is trying to bounce back up there. So it's just pulling back in the 70, and I think it's going to be bouncing back up, as most of them look like they're just trying to make some room and get crazy. So crypto is getting wild. The market's getting wild. Everything's looking great. So it's a lot of fun. And let's go through our SPY and our big caps real quick, and then let me know if I missed anything and anybody else wants to see anything else. And I'd say we have a pretty solid list right here for tomorrow. And like I said, that ELAB is looking great tomorrow. XTIA is looking great tomorrow. And TRNR is looking great tomorrow. There's so many of them, and they're already up in the after hours, and we're up today moving after we posted them and talked about them and so many others. So we are crushing things, and we're not going to stop now. So the SPY was up 29 cents, and it's at 597. And you can't tell. Does it want to curl up to and get into the top and run? I think it does. And because I mean it has solid support right down here in the 590 area, and it doesn't even remotely look like it looks like it's trying to make a base up here. So we'll keep an eye on it tomorrow, and it looks like it's trying to curl up, as a matter of fact, today. So let's see what it's trying to do. And it does. It looks like it's trying to run up tomorrow. So it looks like it's going to be healthy. And let's look at GameStop, or how about AME? Because I just typed that in. I don't even know what it is, but what's AME up to? Because that's a big cap. That's way up there too in the top. That's at 195. It was up to even more to 197, but I wouldn't mess with that. So let's jump to GameStop now. GME. That's what I was trying to type in. It's in the top. I think you're going to get a bounce play, and it's going to stay in the top, is what it looks like. It's trying to build that base. And let me look at it on my end and see what it did in the after hours. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to bounce up even higher tomorrow, that GameStop. So that looks good. AMC, that kind of closed and opened in the same spot, I think. Where did the 454 and 456? So I would say relatively close. And like I said, it's just setting up. It's sitting over that which was its resistance, is now a support at 450, and AMC is looking pretty solid right there, guys. So keep your eye on that. I've been telling you guys that looks good. And Chewy, CHWY, that one's down 24 cents, and it looked like it was going to stay in the top, and it poked its way out. So we'll have to see if it's trying to bounce back up or if it actually tries to pull down. Could pull down to like the 29 area, and then the 20 and 50 are trying to meet up. So we'll take a look at that Chewy and see what that's up to. But it's not looking terrible, just a little pullback right there. And let's look at in the video, see what that's up to. It was down $2. And again, it's just trading in that channel right there, and it has some pullback. It actually could pull back to like the 139 area. It's at 146. We'll see if it tries to, even 141. We'll see if it tries to bounce tomorrow. Let me see what it did in the after hours. It's just sitting right there, huh? Yeah, it's hard to tell. It could bounce off the line or come through. Oh, excuse me. If it comes through, it's coming down, like I said, to like that 141 or yeah, 141, 140, nothing too crazy. And it's setting up super bullish as they all are. Apple AAPL, this was curling up today and looking really good. Down 5 cents in the after hours, but I think you're gonna see Apple start popping, guys. So keep an eye on Apple. Remember, I was telling you guys it was set up and it's looking way better right now. Let's say that it's going to get curling up, cross through, and get moving. So keep your eye on Apple because that one's going to be a good one. And Google, this one I think was pulling back a little bit if I remember correctly. It did 283. It's sitting on that line. I'm telling you, it's just sitting right there. It could pull back to like the 174, but I'm not sure it wants to. It looks like it could do any which way. So Google will just wait to see exactly what it wants to do. It looks like it wants to pull back to me, but we'll just keep an eye on it. And when we definitely know, like what I say about Amazon, it was going to get up into the top. It was up over $5 today. It went from 209 to 215. It's at 214, and it should stay up there and run. And there you go. They're easy options right there. So you can just nail them when you know that where it's going to go. And we knew it was going up. I said it yesterday and this morning, and bam, there it went. So that was Amazon, and you play the ones that you really know are going to do exactly what you want them to do. And like I said, Meta is just setting up. Just let it set up. It's getting super bullish up there in that 600 range, and it's trying to get crossed through the MACD. It keeps hitting and bouncing down. And this next time it goes to do it, it's going to roll through. So I'll keep an eye on Meta, and we'll know exactly when that's ready, and we'll hit that bad boy because I'm telling you, Zuckerberg has something going on. I don't know what. Microsoft is curling back up and looking much better, guys. So that may run up to like the 430s tomorrow. It's at 425. So keep an eye on Microsoft because that one's looking good for tomorrow right there. And let's look at Tesla. That was down a little bit, but oh no, it bounced back up. Oh, it's at 330. I mean, it's actually going to bounce back up in the top. It came back down when I was looking at it, it was coming back down, and it looks like it's at 329 and it wants to bounce back up into the top and get higher. So that's what it looks like at the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on it, and I won't doubt it either. So I could see that one getting crazy. And yeah, that's Tesla. And there's our Mag 7 right there. And like I said, Apple looks great. Microsoft and obviously Amazon was already moving and should continue. So there you go with them bad boys. And the other ones are all setting up right there. And let's take a look at Nike, NKE. We'll take a look at that one. I think we did, but I'll look at that, Eileen. I just saw that come in. Nike's curling up, guys. I'm telling you, it's getting bullish and looking good from the $76 area. So keep your eye on Nike and watch it get moving very soon. I think Nike gets cruising. Let's see right there. I think Nike gets moving. Rivian is moving. We called that one perfectly. We said it was going to be driving up. It did exactly that today. Opened at 1175, got up to 1310, and I think it's going to get a little higher. So there you go at Rivian. That was a perfect one right there. RIVN, PLTR. This thing's just a beast at $60, guys. I mean, every day I say if it goes up, use it as a momentum play. And because it's just so hard to tell. It's been in the top forever. It came out once and then just went right back in. It almost made like a Wu-Tang W and was like, yo, PLTRs forever, and I'm staying up here for life because it's crazy what it just did. I'm just looking at this W it made, and it just reminded me of the Wu-Tang symbol, and Wu-Tang's forever, and so is PLTR up at the top. Because this thing's crazy up here. I mean, literally got up here on what day? September 9th, and then it came out a little bit like in the middle of October, and then it started to make our W around like October 29th to November 5th, and it's been in the top since. So thing's an animal. It's just a beast up here, PLTR. So again, you know what you're looking at. And Sophie, the same thing, has been running way up there at 1350. And same, I mean, it's just all the way at the top. It's been staying up there. So beware, but it looks like it's building a base to try to go higher. So that's SOFI, and that one's a monster. DELL is down $1.94. They have earnings coming up on November 26th. So they're at, oh yeah, 2 days before Thanksgiving. That's right. It's just pulling back a little. It had run up. It's making a base. I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think it's crossing through, coming down or anything. I think it's just a little pull back and then it's going to get rolling. We went over snow today. That one went nutty. 126 to 134. It's at 130. And that one looks like it does want to get into the top too and try to run up higher tomorrow. So you keep an eye on that, snow and see. But again, that was a beauty play by Monday. AMD, this one is down 433, but I thought this was trying to get set up there. Look for a nice bounce play on AMD because I think it's trying to get bouncing there. So have to keep an eye on that one, but it may be a bounce play there. AMD. Qualcomm. This one's been pulling back too and went underneath of its support line. So maybe it's going to come back to that 155. I'm surprised to be honest, but we'll catch that bottom and see when it wants to reverse for QCOM and PayPal. This one was moving. It's up at 87. And we looked at it when it was down in like 80, 82 or something like that. So it's up at the 87 and it looks like it wants to crawl up into the top and move a little higher. So watch PayPal try to run up tomorrow because it looks like it wants to pop up tomorrow. So keep an eye on that. And that SMCI, I'm telling you, I think they're just gonna pull out because they have to announce something pretty soon. What is it? Like, don't they have till what, the 16th or something? I think like Saturday. So basically they have till the 15th, which is Friday. Like another day or two to be able to say that they have some kind of plan or something. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. I can't imagine them letting this company get delisted and not providing a plan. And I also saw that they said they were going to try to do everything they could to make it compliant. So I mean, I could imagine tomorrow or something or Friday they're going to come out and say, "Hey, we got this plan and an extension," and then all of a sudden it's going to get curled up and rocking and rolling. So we'll see if SMCI can do that. So we'll keep our eye on it for looking. That's what we're looking for anyway. INTC is looking real good. And this is one that could benefit from Trump, and it is going to pop off. It's about to make that resistance at 25.28, its new support line, and get blasted. So INTC looking good right there. I think that's going to be a mover right there. Disney, remember I said this was going to get over $100? Well, it's at like 103 and it just keeps moving up. It went to 103 from 100 today and it keeps going. Their earnings are tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It's in the top. It looks like it wants to continue up, so it'll probably come down. So I wouldn't mess with it at this point, but it definitely went from that 96 to 103, and that's a perfect option call right there. So that was Disney. Oxy, this one will benefit with Trump, and it's looking pretty good to set up and get moving. I said it last night, and I'm gonna have to take a look at these because this one looks like it wants to start blasting off relatively soon, like tomorrow. So keep an eye on that Oxy because it looks really good, guys. I can see it running tomorrow, to be honest with you. So there you go at OXY and Exxon Mobil. Was up a dollar something, and we were looking at them. They looked like they were trying to set up. Remember, I said they looked weird. Well, they're going to get blasted off. I think Exxon Mobil's going to get moving too. So keep an eye on that one as well. And here's our Mara, MARA. I think, weren't they down today? Yeah, down three something. But again, they ran up like maniacs. They're just making room on the chart. Let them pull back. It could pull back into the 19s. It's at 21. And then it'll set back up and riot as well. RIOT. This pulled back a little bit and the same situation. I mean, they ran up like crazy, so they need to pull back. MSTR MicroStrategy was down $28. And another one, it might stay up at the top, but it looks like it could come out of the top and pull back. It's hard to tell right here. Let me see if I can tell on mine, actually. MSTR. Nah, you can't even tell. So I'll look at that tomorrow and see what it wants to do. CLSK, Clean Spark was down as well, and they are. They're all came down and came out of the top and came down and touched like a support line, which now you don't know if it's going to dip down, make that a resistance, and have to just make its way back up over and pop off them. So we'll take a look at these bad boys tomorrow. Coin also came down like $34, and again, it's going to come down to that line right there at 275. They all look the exact same, all these bad boys. So DJT down $1.54, just pulling back. We kind of knew that was happening, up 7 cents in the after hours. But again, these things are going to get so set up again and get wild. PHUN, that'll get fun again. Just let it pull back. It's at $5. And all them bad boys can pretty much do well under Trump for the most part, and they were part of the list. MTN Val Resorts, that was down 254 and hitting some resistance. It looks like it's pulling back, but again, it's setting up to be bullish in long term. McDonald's MCD, this one did pull back, and I mean, this one was setting up to get rolling, and I think now is about the time that you want to look at it, see if it pulls back anymore tomorrow, but it's right there, probably looking good for next week. So that's McDonald's MCD. And let's take a look at Boeing. That was down 520. And like I was saying, it should be dipping. And it's going to probably bounce off this 138, though. I could see that bouncing off the bottom and just kind of bouncing up between that channel. But it is coming down, Boeing, and it should. Space. That was up 2 cents and just kind of hanging out, but this thing's going to get rolling through and get curled up. I expect that one to get moving some more tomorrow. And we looked at that LDOS because I added it here and it was pulling back, but I like to add it to the list because it's going to be a good mover. And there you go with that. Let me look at the messages and see what's going on. If I missed anything real quick, let me see. MVST has to be one of the easiest runners with multiple opportunities to get in today. Yup, that was a piece of cake. Laptop travel was all over that bad boy, and it ran like a maniac. GOEV, let's look at that one real quick. I don't know if I did it. Canoe, no, I don't think we did this tonight. So let's look at it. They just had earnings, what? Today they had their earnings, and it has a green E and it's pulling back. If I were to see that, I would have said, yeah, it looks like it's going to pull back, but it looks like it wants to bounce back up. Let me look at it on mine. It might be a hard one because I had their earnings today. It looks like it wants to bounce back up to me, is what it looks like, Eileen. Um, I'll write it down up here and I can definitely take a look or remind me tomorrow or shoot me a message and I can take a look at it again with the earnings today and it's just a little pullback. It's just a tough look, but I'll look at it tomorrow and we can get a better idea. That's for sure. You know that. And yeah, that HUM is looking good. And yeah, OV Gross said that's what his generation used when I was talking about the TI 83 Plus. There you go. I remember all them bad boys. Michael Vaughn, we covered Elab, but guess what? It looks great. I can tell you that right now. I'll even pull it up again, and it's almost at 3.5 cents. We were looking at it the other day. It came up on the scanner, and it looks like it's going to be a popper up tomorrow. So keep an eye on that bad boy tomorrow because it looks like it's going to be running in the morning. Elab, XTIA, that TRNR, all them bad boys are looking good. Bruce Love, you're welcome. I appreciate it. He said thanks for everything you do. And yep, I love it to be honest with you. So I enjoy it. It's a good time for me. I love doing this clearly. So there you go. Let's look at the scanner real quick because we'll find whatever's popping real fast and then we'll call it a night. Um See if there's anything that we didn't see yet. That's what we're looking for. That AGRI is looking real good tomorrow too. So that ELAB, XTIA, TANH looking decent. TRNR looking good. EFSH is looking decent to set up, but AGRI looks good to run. MSOS is already moving. We talked about that. And that HURA just looks good right there. And GFAI looks real good tomorrow. And so does Lucid LCID. And also that QLGN and Dollar General looks great too for some options. DG and looks for XPON. That's setting up right there. And OCTO is looking great. NXPL looks good. And that MDJH looks great too. So a bunch of them looking real good. And that Intel, PayPal looking great. Oxy and ExxonMobil looking good. Space looking good. Microsoft and Apple and Amazon look continuing their way up. So there you go. They're the ones that are looking great right there. And let's just take a look real quick and see what's happening. And what is this one? That's the MSTR inverse one. So that one was all the way up and came all the way down. It is curling back up though. I would say MicroStrategy is going to dip, and this MSTZ might be one to look at because that's the two-time inverse. MSTR looks like I guess the bear one or whatever. So yeah, it's so yeah, I would take a look at this. It looks like it wants to curl up, roll off, and get moving. MSTZ. So we'll have to look at that bad boy right there. And like I said, MicroStrategy could be pulling back. Not the end of the world. I mean, it ran up like a maniac. It'll pull back and go nuts again. There's that QUBT that we were talking about. And IBIT's way up there. Maris, SOXL. I know we've been looking at this and it's just pulling back right there. It was trying to set up, no big deal. LCID's on here, and that GRAB was way up there. What about Spirit Airlines? I think they're about to go bankrupt, aren't they? Way down right there. I think they're going to announce bankruptcy. As company reportedly preps bankruptcy filing. There you go. There's another one we call. Holy cow. We love to call the bankruptcies. Yeah, it dipped down to 131 there. It was at $3 and there you go. We'll see if we can play that bankruptcy bounce. But yeah, that company wasn't looking good. How about Walgreens? What are they up to? WBA. Let's see. It's at 903 and it's just pulling back looking bad too. I'm telling you, this company is not looking good either. Walgreens not looking good. And what about Warner Brothers? Was that Warner Brothers WBD? That was already popping up. Oh yeah, it popped up like 50 cents more. And we were looking at it down here. I don't remember exactly where, but I'm pretty sure it was in the sevens. It's at 972 right now in the top and running. Remember, I said Warner Brothers had something going on. Well, that one's definitely running up there. So there you go with that. There's that BTCS. That's way up there. And we looked at that bad boy, and again, that's up there. It could stay up for a little more of a run, but you have to be careful with that. And let's see, there's nothing really jumping out. That SOUN dip, PLUGs. Let's look at that. That could be curling up. Hold on. PLUG plug. Keep an eye on this plug. This one could be bouncing up there. PLUG. That one's a good one. Plug power. It's down at like 197. I think during COVID, this thing was in like the $100 range. I'm going back to look. I see it in like the 45s, 70s, 80s. Yeah, I'm telling you, during COVID, this thing was like, it was a monster. I remember it. So that was PLUG, and it's what I just say it was down to $1.97. So yeah, crazy stuff right there. And nothing really jumping out, to be honest. GNS, that jumped up on some news. Oh, yeah, that SVMH, that one looks decent. I know that. That's on here trying to curl up there. So there's a few. I mean, I think we went over everything, honestly. We didn't, there's nothing that's jumping out to me that we didn't see. Let's put it that way. And there you go. Let me make sure I got everything. I'll look at stock twits real quick, see what's happening over there, and we'll go from there. Hold on real quick. We'll see what's going on over here real quick. Good old Pepe, and they added all them bad boys to Robinhood, so that made them Soul and Pepe and a couple other ones, Cardano and Ripple. So yeah, they're all added to Robinhood. SMCI is down, it's trending. Lunar, we already knew that was going Lunar. BCRX is down a little, and ZETA is down. Disney's trending. JD is down a little. IONQ's up, and TGTX. What is that one? I think we looked at that before. TGTX, TG Therapeutics. That's way up at the top too. I know we looked at it before. And ASTS is AST Space Mobile. There you go. Another laptop travel one. I knew that looked familiar. So keep that on your list right there, your ASTS, because that's moving. And we were super early on that one, laptop travel. There you go with that. So yeah, keep an eye on that bad boy because that one's looking really good too. I'm just adding it to that list right there. But there you go. I would say that's everything right there. And that's a good market review. So thank you everybody for hanging out tonight and tuning in. Laptop travel, thank you as always for everything. Energies everywhere. Eileen, O'Hare's Bastard Child, STX Confidential, with always some good poppers right there. RD, how you doing? Luis Rodriguez always on point with some poppers. Elena, how you been? Tommy and Sherry and Bong Pre-Chan and Brian, DTM, Buddy, QM, Brett, Matt. What's Matt's last name? Matt Woods. Lynn and Kenny Scott. Supret, I believe that is, and somebody Panagius. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. And Sean, how are you this evening? Thanks everybody for hanging out. And again, if you want me to look at anything in the morning, we're here every morning on during the markets at 7 a.m. for pre-market. So we'll go over our Jolie's jumpers and our laptop lowdowns, and of course our big caps and all them bad boys, our SPY and crypto, and see what's rocking and rolling in the morning. So if you want me to look at anything in particular, just shoot it over in the morning. We'll check it out. And there you go. So I'll catch you guys at 7 a.m. Have a great night, everybody. And thanks for tuning in. And I will catch you guys in the morning. Have a good night, everybody.